Hello, and welcome into another episode of Popcorn for Breakfast. I am one of your co-hosts, Cam, and for the moment, I'm flying solo. We had to get the stream underway. Kirk's got some technical difficulties going on, so we are working through that as we speak. Kirk should be on any minute now, but figured I'd go ahead and get the show kicked off. Thank you so much for being here, whether that be in the stream, watching live on either YouTube, Twitch, or Facebook Live, or if you're listening to us in podcast form, in which case it is probably a Wednesday or some day after Wednesday, because date of recording today is Tuesday, July 27th, and we're going to be getting into all kinds of stuff on this show. In the stream, we're going to be covering all the movie news, plus a movie review, plus a Schoolyard pick. If you're listening in podcast form, you'll get the movie news on this episode, and then in the next episode, you'll get our movie reviews and our Schoolyard pick. So, big show up ahead. But I have a bone to pick, and I was going to pick a bone with Kirk, and I will when he gets here. But I spent I don't want to be dramatic. I spent the better part of 2 hours on a live stream this afternoon. And for anybody who is waiting patiently for our live stream to start, your experience is probably similar to mine, only just imagine that you were in that experience for over 2 hours, as earlier this week, Disney and all of their cohorts, Hulu, Disney Plus, etc., started teasing this new Twitter account, which was just called The Streamer. And it had a blue check mark. It was verified on Twitter, and they were like teasing that things were coming soon. Well, today they said, hey, tune in at 3 p.m. Pacific time for a stream event and get to learn more about The Streamer. And they were using like hashtag Disney Bundle, which of course the Disney Bundle is like their bundle of Disney Plus, Hulu, ESPN Plus. So it was all very cryptic, very strange. So they advertised it as tune in at 3 p.m. for a Disney Bundle, The Streamer stream, whatever. So at 5 p.m. Central Time, which was 3 p.m. Pacific Time, I forgot to tune in completely and ended up joining it an hour later. And what I found when I arrived was just a stream of a stream, like a literal, like a babbling brook. There was like a little small waterfall. It was like very serene. It was almost like you were like doing some guided meditation or something like that. And so I was like, okay, well, they're probably within a little bit here, they're going to like do something, right? Well, that went on for 2 more hours. So the people who watched the whole stream, which God help them if they did, and all credit to them, I guess, in a way, it was 3 hours of just that, just a video loop of a stream of just like some running water in the middle of a wilderness. And right after that, like the stream ended with nothing, and then they dropped a video of just Dave Bautista as this new character that they're rolling out called The Streamer. He's like some sort of like woodsman lumberjack type who is into streaming, and they're using the play on words there. That was it. And it's like a new advertising campaign that they're doing with Dave Bautista to promote the Disney Bundle. So, yikes. I feel bad for anyone who had to deal with that like me. I think everybody was just like, what is this going to be? And like, here's my thing on that. If they want to have a 3-hour cryptic stream of just a stream, I'm cool with that. But don't advertise it as, hey, join us at 3 p.m. That's where they crossed the line. If they had just put it out there and people were just watching like, ooh, what is this? What could this be? That's one thing altogether. That's just like me and other people being stupid enough to fall for the bait. But when you like advertise it as like, hey, come hang out with us on this stream, when it's literally just a looping video of a stream for 3 hours, that I think crosses the line into being a little bit sadistic. There was a little sick there. I was a little bit sick. So I'm on to you, Disney. You're on my list this week, and I don't appreciate you wasting my time. I really don't. So just had to get that out of the way as we are still waiting on Kirk to jump in here, and I don't think Kirk actually got a chance to watch the stream. I think he's lucky for that, but I did, and I'm mad about it, and maybe I should just be mad at myself. I don't know, but you win, Disney. You got me with your troll. So let's think about some of the other things we're going to talk about today on this podcast. The theme of the show, I feel like, is that time is a flat circle because Bennifer is back. They're back, baby. Ben Affleck, Jennifer Lopez, it's back. It's full bore. There were some rumors going on, but no, it's on. It was confirmed, Instagram official from J-Lo that Bennifer is back. The Exorcist is back. We'll get more into that. One of the most famous horror films ever, and the subsequent franchise that followed, which was like somewhat popular, but definitely not as good as the original. So we're going to be talking about The Exorcist and Ghostbusters as well. We're going to be talking about Dune. Like I said, just like Matthew McConaughey said in True Detective, time is a flat circle, and that has never been truer than it is now. And joining me now, I would like to welcome in Kirk. Kirk, welcome to the program. Can you hear me? No. You're really super quiet, so I will just mute you for a little bit, I guess, until we have that worked out. So we're having all kinds of fun today, but we're going to be talking about all of those things. Then we're reviewing 3 films this week, kind of. So before I give you a juicy tease, I will just say that we're reviewing Fear Street. Oh, it says Kirk's mic's not connected. So we'll just we'll keep working through that. We'll wait until we can hear Kirk. We'll probably get some nasty audio at some point, but that's we're just working through it. We're just working through it. But we're reviewing Fear Street, all 3 of them this week, parts 1 through 3. We're going to do it in one review, so that's why I said we're reviewing 3 films, kind of, because we're going to do just one set of superlatives. So just like one best actor, one scene stealer, all of that, and we're going to give an overall score for the whole thing rather than going film by film by film. So that is what we'll be doing. And then in honor of our good pals, Bennifer, we are going to do what I expect will be a very contentious Schoolyard pick, the Schoolyard pick of celebrity couples. And this can be future couples, past couples, not future couples, present couples, past couples. It can't, unless we have like Nostradamus's book and we can predict the future, that would be pretty cool. But present couples, past couples, any celebrity power couples that we love, whether they be currently together or not anymore. And, we don't really get into the tabloid stuff very often, but we're going to do it. We're going to dive headlong just this once. So, all right. Kirk, how we doing? I'm not sure. Can you hear me? Very quietly, like extremely quietly. Oh boy. I'm not sure what's happening. That's all right. We'll figure it out. So as Kirk works through that, we got a comment here that with all these reboots coming back, we want Firefly back. That's what Cody says. Firefly. That would be a good one. Actually, I'm shocked that one's not back. I'm shocked that Firefly is not back. I'm shocked. I mean, it'll all come back. Don't worry. If there's anything we've learned is that if something is or was popular and there's money to be made, then it will happen. Like right now, we've been told like 13 different times that Manifest is like gone and dead forever. And yet I see a new news story every day that's like Netflix is reopening discussions to possibly bring Manifest back for a 4th season. And it continues to be on like the top 10 list in Netflix because there's just like this cult-like following. So it's the power of the people, man. We have more power over our content than ever before. People have like willed so many things into existence. So it's very exciting. It's very exciting. So let's lobby for Firefly. Just ask for whatever you want. Anything you want in this world, just ask for it. Get enough people to yell about it, and we're there. And I feel like there's probably a decent number of people yelling about Firefly already, so we just need to make that happen. That's the same way I feel about Batman Beyond. I'm like a broken record on Batman Beyond, but I want a live action Batman Beyond movie or show to happen. That's what I want. Okay, so Kirk dropped off. He's having some mic problems. We'll give him a couple minutes to swing back on. In the meantime, if anybody has anything they want to chat about, we're available in the comments. Quick reminder, we're on Discord. If you guys don't know what Discord is, it's it's basically like Slack. Some people have Slack or like Teams messaging at work. It's very similar to that, or Facebook Messenger. It's basically just an instant message chat. You can go in there, share GIFs, share memes. It's very usable. Actually, I prefer it over texting. I wish that all communication was done in Discord. But we have our very own Discord server where you can jump in. All you have to do is click the link that's in the description of this video, and you can set up an account. It's super easy. It seems intimidating because it's like, oh, it's this new app and this new thing, but it's very, very easy. You just click the link, create your account, boom, done. It's free. You don't have to do anything else. And we share memes in there. We share recommendations in there. We share the latest news. So it's just a really good way to connect with everybody who is listening to the podcast and people who like movies and TV like you. So definitely want to plug that. I also want to plug, I mentioned it at the end of the episode last week. There is an app called Letterboxd that Kirk and I have actually we've been in and out of being active on it for the last couple of years, like since like 2016 or something like that. But it's a really cool app. It's basically like movie reviews meets social networking. So you can go on there, you can create a diary of your films. So every day whenever I watch a movie, which is literally every day, I put in what movie I watched, which day that I watched it. If I'm ready to review it, I will give my reviews out of 1 to 5 stars is the rating that they have. And I can give a quick little blurb in there. You can follow your friends. You can follow people who are influential on the platform and get their reviews. It's really cool. It's called Letterboxd, Letterboxd. You can find it on the App Store. If you search Cam Wiggs, or I think Kirk's on there too. I think his username's like Curlington or something weird like that, but you can find him on there, and we're both on there logging our movies. So at the very least, like, you can see what movies we're watching. You can see if we liked those movies, and if you tend to agree with either one of us, then it's a good place to get recommendations, but also just a fun way to get your finger on the pulse of everything that's going on in the movie industry. So the Letterboxd is definitely one to check out. All right. Thanks for bearing with us, guys, as we work through some technical difficulties here. Let me see. Let me pull up the movie news slate, and we can maybe jump into some of that real quick. Alrighty. All right. Let's jump into what's popping while we're here. Let's just jump into it. Kirk can catch up whenever he jumps in. All right. It's time for what's popping. Here's everything that has gone on. Well, not everything, but most things that you should care about that have gone on in the last week since our last stream in movie and television news. And holy smokes, guys, is there just an absolute ton of it. There is a ton of it. The first one that I have to mention, I feel like this is big because it's a big money deal, so it's big to talk about, is that NBC Universal, that little joint content, whatever you want to call it, coalition, they have purchased the rights to a new Exorcist trilogy. So a new series of films based on The Exorcist, set in the Exorcist world, that will be coming to NBC and Universal Studios. So what that basically means, they've shelled out $400 million for this new trilogy. They're bringing back Academy Award winner Ellen Burstyn, who starred in the original The Exorcist film and won an Academy Award for her performance in that film. So that is a massive deal. And they're also bringing in newcomer to the franchise, Leslie Odom Jr. of Hamilton fame, and also an Academy Award nominee for One Night in Miami. So that's their power duo for this new film franchise. And now there's still a ton of details being worked out here, but here's what we know. There is going to be both a theatrical component and a Peacock streaming component to this. So current speculation is that the first film in the series will premiere in theaters. At the very least, that one will. And the subsequent films may do either a joint theater and streaming thing or may premiere only on Peacock. They're still kind of working that out, and people are still kind of trying to figure it out. But so far, and this is all coming from Deadline, who's reporting this, we know that NBC Universal shelled out $400 million for this franchise. Ellen Burstyn and Leslie Odom Jr. are the headliners on this whole franchise. It's expected to be at least 3 movies, and there's going to be a theatrical component and a Peacock component, and that's all still being worked out. But The Exorcist is back. And I think that this is big because that first movie is widely believed to be, one of the best horror films of all time. It's an Academy Award nominated film. It's a huge deal, one of the most successful horror movies ever. The franchise certainly went in a bunch of strange directions after that with all of the different sequels and prequels, and I think there was like Exorcist the Beginnings, Exorcist 2, there were tons of different spinoffs, but this is a chance for them to get back to their roots. They're bringing back a cast member who won an Academy Award for the original film and hasn't appeared in any of those sequels or prequels. So that's sort of a fresh start for this franchise. And they're bringing in Leslie Odom Jr., who frankly is just one of the hottest entertainers in the industry right now, whether it be singing, stage plays, acting. I mean, he does it all. And so that's a huge coup for them. It'll be interesting to see. I know the whole like streaming and theatrical relationship is very awkward right now, and it's sort of unfolding before our eyes. We're seeing all this weird data around, movies that premiere at the box office while they're also on streaming. They're like having really good first weekends, but then after that it falls off. So it's all still very fluid. And I think that a lot of what happens this year and into next year will determine how these things shake out and if theatrical is the way to go or not. But for right now, we know that The Exorcist is coming, and it will be available if you have a Peacock subscription and you can see it in theaters. So that is very, very exciting. Next one is a Superman story. So I'm going to save that one for Kirk because Kirk is like all about Superman, and it's about Michael B. Jordan. Just a little tease there. And those are like 2 of Kirk's favorite things. Like if you check Kirk's Dreams Journal, I guarantee that Michael B. Jordan and the Superman both appear somewhere in there. So let's skip ahead. We're going to talk about something related to Superman, which is Warner Bros. And Warner Bros. Is actually planning to develop at least 10 films exclusively for HBO Max in 2022. And this is coming from Variety. And this is a big stepping stone for them because, as we know from watching Netflix, there is the sort of, and Disney Plus for that matter, honestly, there is that first stage for every streaming platform where they go through where it's just aggregating content, especially if you're something that was created from the ground up, like Netflix or Hulu, something like that. They had to get the rights to all this content. HBO Max is in a different camp because they have access to the Warner catalog and Turner and some of those different things. So they have a few more levers to pull in the content realm. But the next step beyond just your initial content aggregation is to do exclusive content. And I think that HBO Max is figuring out that exclusive films are still a very, very good vehicle for driving new subscriptions. They've gotten 2.8 million subscriptions in the last quarter. And so they're going to sort of double down on films and really trying to drive subscribers specifically to HBO Max. I think a lot of their subscriptions this year has undoubtedly been driven by the whole first day or like first month in theaters and on HBO Max stuff, because then you have people deciding like, am I going to go see that movie in theaters, or do I just want to pay $15 and catch it at home on HBO Max? So that's been an effective model for them to gain subscribers. But I think it's starting to look like the theater landscape is going to return to normal. And so HBO Max is going to have to find different ways to generate subscribers. And something that has been successful for Netflix is to generate buzzworthy original shows, original movies. And I like that Warner has said specifically they're developing at least 10 films because they have, as we saw in Space Jam, they have tons of intellectual property that's massively popular that they could spin up into films that could be a little bit lower budget, but still good enough to drive people to HBO Max. I mean, you think about if they keep going like the Godzilla versus Kong route, if they want to keep exploring that, they can do that there. They've got zillions of other different franchises at their disposal. I don't know if Harry Potter is going to be sticking around with Warner or if it's going to go to Peacock or how that's all going to shake out. But, I mean, just infinite numbers of things they could do. They could do more on like Blade Runner specifically. I think there's a Blade Runner series coming out. They could do more on any number of properties that they have access to. So I think it's a good play for them to go the film route, and it could be a high margin play for them if they're able to drive subscribers to that platform, HBO Max. All right. Speaking of things that Warner used to have access to, but no longer does in their catalog, Pokemon. Pokemon used to be a Warner property. I believe that Detective Pikachu movie that they came out with was under the Warner banner, and the Pokemon series originally aired on what used to be like WB and now is the CW. So Pokemon was a Warner property, but now Netflix has really taken strong hold of that. They've got all the series on Netflix. They've done some new Netflix exclusive stuff there, and Variety is reporting that there is a new live action Pokemon series on the way at Netflix, and that the showrunner of Lucifer is the one who's going to be executive producing and sort of writing this and building this out. And Lucifer is not a show that I watch, but I know that it's wildly popular, and it's one that's sort of on my list. So this is a big story for Netflix, and Pokemon is obviously still an extremely popular franchise. The thing that really catches my eye about this, though, is the live action component, because I feel like the closest thing we've gotten to live action Pokemon, and I would assume this is the route they'll have to go, is Detective Pikachu. For my money, that was kind of a weird aesthetic, in my opinion. I think the movie was fine, but that the way that the Pokemon looked and that whole world that they created of like Pokemon next to humans and how they kind of came to life, it was a little bit grittier than I was maybe expecting. So I'll be interested to see what live action looks like in this sense. And will they go for that same art direction, or will they go in a completely different direction? Also, what's going to be the target audience for this show? I think live action, you tend to think that it's targeted towards an older demographic, and there are certainly, because Pokemon has been around for so long, there are really young Pokemon fans and Pokemon fans who are my age, like in their late 20s, early 30s. So it definitely runs the gamut. So I think they will have to make it kid-friendly to an extent, but will it be a little bit of a grittier vibe? Regardless, it's an interesting thing to keep an eye on, and something that we'll have to keep a close eye on as things develop there. But this is just original reporting here from Variety. They're the ones on this, so as it develops, we'll be sure to keep you guys in the loop. Next up, more news from Netflix as Netflix continues to acquire some tantalizing properties. This one's interesting. It's a film called Fast and Loose. It's an action film directed by David Leitch, and you'll recognize that name from John Wick. He was the director of the first John Wick film, and also directed Hobbs and Shaw, which is the Fast and Furious spin-off movie. But David Leitch is directing this movie. It's an action film, and Will Smith is attached to star. The only details we really have so far, and this is coming from Deadline, are that the plot basically follows someone who wakes up with no memories and quickly figures out that he was living a double life as both a crime lord, kingpin type thing, and an undercover CIA agent. So that is a doozy of a plot line. So we've got amnesia, we've got double life, and then you've got the CIA and some sort of drug or crime ring going on there. So that sounds like a David Leitch movie, and it sounds like it's going to be action-packed and intense. I mean, after all, the title of the movie is Fast and Loose. So let us know what you think in the comments, since I don't have Kirk here to bounce ideas off of. Let us know what you think of that film concept, or if you're excited to see Will Smith in this, or if you'll be tuning into Netflix for Fast and Loose. But that's one we'll also be keeping an eye on. And speaking of Hobbs and Shaw and Fast and the Furious, man, I got all the good segues today. Dwayne Johnson was interviewed by The Hollywood Reporter for Jungle Cruise, which comes out Friday, actually, of this week. Man, time flies. But he was interviewed for Jungle Cruise and was sort of asked about the very public beef that he and Vin Diesel had around Fast and the Furious. Around the time that Hobbs and Shaw came out, there were all these stories about how, Vin Diesel was upset with The Rock and Jason Statham for spinning off and doing this movie, that it wasn't like the family thing. And then there were these stories that Vin Diesel and The Rock had beef on set. Well, recently Vin Diesel made some comments that he was basically doing so, like having beef with Dwayne Johnson on purpose, that it was a tactic, and he called it a Fellini-esque tactic to try to get a better performance out of either Dwayne Johnson or whoever else he was working with. When the reporter from The Hollywood Reporter asked Dwayne Johnson about this, here was the quote. He said, "I laughed, and I laughed hard. I think everyone had a laugh at that, and I'll leave it at that. And that I've wished them well. I wish them well on Fast and the Furious 9, and I wish them the best of luck on Fast 10 and Fast 11 and the rest of the Fast and Furious movies they do that will be without me." End of quote. So there's obviously a lot there, which is that the Vin Diesel Dwayne Johnson beef is alive and well, and that it has apparently led to what sounds like Dwayne Johnson's departure from the Fast franchise, which I think everybody was somewhat surprised that he didn't appear in Fast 9, I think. That whenever obviously people knew before the movie came out, but when that was being announced and they were announcing the cast and stuff like that, people were somewhat surprised to not see Dwayne Johnson involved in it, especially after Hobbs and Shaw got spun off and was pretty successful in theaters. But it sounds like, based on that quote, this is the end of the line for Dwayne Johnson in the Fast series, and it sounds like it could be due to whatever's going on with him and Vin Diesel. So, from my opinion, if you look at the Fast series, you kind of look at Dwayne Johnson coming into the fold as like the turning point when things started to get better, because that series was in a rough place, coming out of like Tokyo Drift and Fast and Furious, which is the fourth one, in case you don't know all the titles of those movies. But yeah, I think Dwayne Johnson joining the fold kind of gave it new life. And so now that he's done a couple of films, done his spin-off movie, which was successful, and now is out, that sort of leaves this franchise, which still has at least 2 core films left, 10 and 11, and who knows how many spin-offs. It leaves the franchise in an odd place. But if we know anything about the Fast and the Furious franchise, it's that it perseveres. And it will live with or without Dwayne Johnson, and this will just be put in the rear view. So that's something pretty interesting to keep an eye on. As the Vin Diesel Dwayne Johnson saga continues there. Okay, I'm gonna have to swing back to the Michael B. Jordan story, because Kirk is still not able to join. So I'm just gonna have to do it without him, and he's gonna be mad at me. But listen. Sometimes there's desperate times and desperate measures are called for, and this is certainly one of those times. So, without further ado, we have been talking on this show for over a year. I think 2019 was the first time that we mentioned it, that Michael B. Jordan approached Warner with an idea for a Superman project. And at that time, there were scheduling conflicts and it didn't really work out. Then we got the announcement that earlier this year that J.J. Abrams is producing a Superman movie that is featured around a black Superman with Ta-Nehisi Coates coming on to write. Now we've learned that Michael B. Jordan, and this is coming from Collider, and they're the exclusive source on this, Michael B. Jordan is now greenlighting that project with Warner, and it's going to be for HBO Max, and it's going to be a Superman project. We don't know yet if it is a film or a limited series. Most people are speculating limited series at this time. And this new series or movie project, we'll just call it a project for now, is expected to focus on Val Zod, who is a multiverse Superman, who is also black, who is a Kryptonian like Superman from Earth 2. So from a different Earth in the multiverse, and another Kryptonian who takes up the mantle of Superman in a different universe. So right now we just know that Michael B. Jordan is behind this. He's worked with HBO Max. They're greenlighting it. It's going exclusively to HBO Max. And there is, as you would expect, heavy speculation that he is starring in the project. It has yet to be confirmed, but you'd have to think that, well, I don't know. I mean, Michael B. Jordan is directing films now. He's executive producing stuff. Maybe he doesn't need to star in something. He obviously keeps himself very busy with different roles, but I'd have to imagine he wouldn't continue to tenaciously pursue this project unless he was also going to star in it. So I'll just say that my personal speculation is that we end up with a Michael B. Jordan HBO Max Superman limited series, which just sounds insanely awesome. So that's what I see coming, but we still don't have confirmed if it's going to be a limited series and if it's going to star Michael B. Jordan. But we know that something is coming and that Michael B. Jordan is making it happen. So that is where we're at. And actually, Kirk just popped up on the bottom of my screen. Let's try this again. Hey, Kirk.
Check 1.
Yeah, it's not coming through. It's not coming through your mic. It's coming through like your computer mic or something like that.
I hate everything.
Yeah. So let's just pull back the curtain here. When you joined on StreamYard, did you choose your mic?
I did.
Okay. All right.
I want to choose it again.
All right. That works. I can't hear anything now. Poor Kirk. He's having a rough go of it. But what we'll do probably is that we will just finish the stream with what's poppin', and we'll just have to redo the rest of it at some other time, because I can't do a whole movie review by myself. I mean, I can, but my voice will go hoarse and I will hate my life, which I already do right now. So we will go in a different direction. But as Kirk leaves the screen, I don't know what's happening. He's working on something, but I'm going to keep plugging along here. Thank you to everybody who is listening on the stream, as I doubt this ever will hit the podcast airwaves, because it has been just an interesting night, but we'll just keep plugging along. Okay. Next up. Let's see. Oh, we got a couple of quick hitters. So let's dive into that. First of all, we talked about Batgirl last week, and man, was that just last week? Wow, that feels like eons ago. But we talked about Batgirl last week and how there was this casting war going on, and it was all these different actors were competing for the role, including Haley Lou Richardson, Isabella Merced, Leslie Grace, Zoe Deutsch. There were others. So there were lots of people involved in that situation, but someone was cast right after we filmed that episode. Actually, Leslie Grace from In the Heights actually got cast in that role. She played Nina in The Heights. So she's pretty new on the scene. So that's really like her first big performance. So if you haven't seen In the Heights, but you're a DC fan, here's a good chance to go check her out and see the new Batgirl for the first time. So that'll be very interesting. It sounds like that project might be just an HBO Max film thing. It's not confirmed, but it kind of sounds like that might be the direction that they're going there. Couple of other quick hitters. Jordan Peele's next horror film has been announced with a poster. They released a poster that features, and I don't have it with me, so I apologize for not putting it up. So I'll just describe it. And it is basically just a cloud with over like some sort of mountain city with like what appears to be a kite string coming out of it. So, and the movie is called Nope. That's what the movie is called, Nope. And so no idea what this movie is about or what's going on. What I can say is that it will probably be horrifying, because Us was horrifying, and Get Out wasn't that horrifying, but it was still scary. And it will probably be really good because it's Jordan Peele and he's made a lot of really good movies so far in that genre. The cast, or at least the portion of the cast that has been announced so far, consists of Daniel Kaluuya, Steven Yeun, and Keke Palmer. And that film is slated to come out July 22nd, 2022. So that is coming up pretty fast. I mean, we're talking about less than a year away. So that sort of came out of nowhere. But Nope from Jordan Peele coming to a theater near you July of 2022. All right, next up. Just a couple of last quick hitters. We got Zack Snyder's Stone Quarry Productions, which is his production company, signed a first look deal with Netflix, and this is coming from the Hollywood Reporter. What a first look deal is, I think we've talked about it before, but if you're new to the program or new to the film industry, whatever, it basically gives the studio with whom they sign the deal, it gives them the right of first refusal. So it gives them the chance to say, here's this new project we're making. What do you think? Do you want it to come to your platform? If so, it's all yours. and they can say yes, no. And if they say no, then it will just move on to the, to the market, to the open market, and they can sell it to whoever wants it. So that's basically how that works. So we know that Zack Snyder's got a pretty good relationship with Netflix so far. He spoke very highly of working with them on the Army of the Dead. We know that there are additional Army of the Dead projects coming. So expect more Zack Snyder films to be finding their way to Netflix in the very near future, and maybe some TV shows. I don't know. We'll see. It's a first look deal, similar to what we've seen a lot of different creators sign recently. The J.J. Abrams of the world, the Alfonso Cuaróns of the world, signing big deals with different streaming platforms. And Zack Snyder and his wife Deborah are just the next set of content creators to join that very long list of people. So it's very exciting. We do have some trailer reactions to jump into, but I'm probably not going to do them now because it won't be super fun if you're just hearing my reaction to the trailer. So here's what we're going to do. If you're still on the stream, I don't know what's going to happen with this episode. I don't know if it will ever show up on... What's the breaking news, Kirk? Bob Odenkirk falls on Better Call Saul set, rushed to hospital. Oh, that's sad. Hope he's okay. Prayers up to Bob Odenkirk. But yeah, so this podcast will probably never hit the airwaves. If you watched it in streaming form, God bless you. I would say that it's been fun, but it really hasn't been super fun. So, but thank you for listening to anyway. Hopefully you got something out of it. And and Kirk, who is basically Silent Sam at this point because of audio issues, we'll leave you on that. I'll play the music because what the hey. And we'll catch you guys later. I don't know if we'll be streaming again this week or what's going to happen, but we will work it out. So until next time, goodbye and thank you. Peace.